Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm called the Big Game Hunter because I've been hunting down leaders and staff for organizations for more than 40 years now. Let's talk about marketing yourself. And statistically, many of you are using job boards to find jobs. That's fine. Job boards fill about 25% of all positions. And many of you are using recruiters. That's fine too. Recruiters fill about 25% of all positions. Now, there's some overlap with job boards because, frankly, recruiters sometimes get resumes from job boards. But let's just accept the statistics at face value. Half of jobs are filled by job boards and recruiters, and half are filled by a means that many of you are ignoring, networking. Now, I understand that networking can be a painful subject for many of you, but frankly, the growth is in the place where you need to stretch. You need to reach out to people that you don't know and need to put yourself in a position where you're going to talk to absolute strangers and try and connect with absolute strangers to try and get entry points into organizations that you're interested in. Or you want to put yourself in a position to be found. Now, let me just point out one of the goofy things people do. You send out a ton of resumes to recruiters and corporations. You eventually find the job. A year and a half later, you get an email from a recruiter who says, I have this great opportunity for you. And then you respond back with a hostile message that translates into remove my resume from your database. Now, you've taken all this time to position yourself in someone's mind as being capable. You've taken all this time to market yourself to organizations, and your response is to say, I'm not interested anymore, delete my resume. Instead of saying, that job doesn't quite fit. Thanks, but no thanks. Or, that looks great. What do we have to do now? Doesn't that make a lot more sense to you? Now, marketing yourself. Now, a lot of the advice that you get, and I'm going to include myself in this, is focused on the job boards and on the employment agency part of this process. And you need to think in terms of the networking process. Constantly putting yourself in the position to be found, constantly putting yourself out there so people will remember to think of you as positions open. Now, on the marketing side, lots of different ways to market, different than it was when I started in the recruiting business in 1972. So in 1972, you were looking for a job, you mailed out your resume. It took days for you to get a response, by which time sometimes someone got in there sooner because you got a phone call, you weren't there, you shared a phone with two other people in your cube. You didn't feel comfortable talking to folks. The recruiter would have to call you at night. There was no cell phones. It was a very primitive process. The recruiter mailed out your resume. They messengered your resume. It was really slow and tedious. Now with technology, it's a lot faster. However, many of you are still operating behind the curve. So start looking at some of the ways that you can promote yourself. Writing articles, getting them published. Even if you're using a site like easyinarticles.com to write an article on what you know, to put yourself in the position where, and understand the idea of Easy in Articles is people who have websites are freely able to publish your article on their site. So you suddenly become an expert because your article winds up on hundreds of other websites. Look for places where you can write. Look for places where you can publish. Get yourself on YouTube. Look at sites like Scribd or SlideShare to publish presentations that you've done for business groups. Get yourself out there so that others can see you as the expert you are at what you do. Now, I know many of you don't think of yourself as an expert. And I know when I first started doing broadcasting, and I first started writing, and I first started, by the time I got to video, but certainly when I first started blogging years ago, it was hard for me to really recognize how much I really knew about my subject until I started rereading it and looking at what I was doing and going, this is good. And getting feedback from people saying, This is really good. Thank you for your help. Get yourself out there and put yourself in the position to be found. Don't just worry about, is my resume going to wind up in the black hole? How do I get myself in the position where the applicant tracking systems pay attention to me? Is my resume keyword rich enough? You should be trying to get to hiring managers at organizations that interest you, that are doing great work, figuring out how your skills and abilities can help them, and then get to the hiring manager. Now, I have another video that talks about how to find people who are doing hiring, and I'm not talking about HR. HR is basically a screen, and they're there to reject people who, frankly, aren't qualified, so that the people who are hiring have their time maximized. HR doesn't hire. They do influence the hiring process by rejection. They influence the compensation process, but they don't hire and they don't set salary, even in organizations that claim that they do. Hiring managers set the tone. So I'm encouraging you, don't just focus on the easy 50%. Look at the harder 50%, the most rewarding 50%, the 50% of looking for work that you may have been avoiding in order to get to your next job. This is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I hope you liked today's video. If you did and you're on YouTube, click the like button that's down below. Maybe write a comment that lets people know that you liked it and why. If you're watching on my website, or if you'd like to come over to my website and look at other videos, the web address is jeffaltman.com. And again, you can watch other videos I've done for YouTube, or of course you can watch them on YouTube. And you can also sign up for a complimentary subscription to my e-zine, which is called No BS Job Search Advice. I publish it on Tuesdays with advice for job hunters that's good anywhere in the world. It's a $399 value. It's completely free. And you can read other articles I've written for YouTube. I've written for the e-zine that will help you with your job search. Listen to podcasts on my radio show, No BS Job Search Advice Radio, which I broadcast Monday mornings at 9 a.m. on Blog Talk Radio. I always give advice that's good for people anywhere in the world. And then the jobs I recruit for are for people who are in the domestic U.S. with a legal right to work in the U.S. At jeffaltman.com, of course, you can search positions I'm recruiting for. There's also more than 50 sites that you can post your resume to. Easy to work with career builder links in the right-hand column of the home page. Access to Indeed on the links page. And Job Search Universe on the bottom of the home page, both of which search thousands of other sites concurrently for job leads. You can find out about my books and guides to job hunting as well as other people's books, all of which are available for Amazon. Two more things, if I may. First of all, is your firm hiring? Send me an email at the address below. Let me know who to contact. If you're the hiring manager, I'd love to help you for however long you're there and help you look good. Maybe your circumstances change with the new hire, but whatever it is, send me an email at the address below and let me know how to reach you or who to contact at your firm and whether or not I should mention your name in introducing myself. Finally, if we aren't already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. I accept connection requests from people anywhere in the world, except if you're in a country that's known for scams or spam, or if you're a third-party recruiter. I won't accept connection requests from. This is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Hope you have a great day. Take care.